right now on 5 on your side at 10.
The entire St. Louis area is now under a severe thunderstorm watch as well as a flash flood watch as potential storms are moving in overnight. We are busy tracking the storms and watching the roads. We begin tonight in Storm Alert. I'm Ann Allred. Thank you for being with us. Mike Bush has the week off. Robert Townsend spent the day at the St. Louis County Emergency Operations Center. Brent Solomon spoke with crews preparing for the storm. But let's start our team coverage with Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell tracking these systems right now. Scott.
We remain in storm alert tonight, Ann, and we will be through the overnight hours until this threat is over. The severe weather threat looks more concentrated southwest of St. Louis, and it appears much of the metro area may, we can't guarantee it, but may escape the worst of the flooding. It may be just to our southwest. Right now, there are warnings in effect. We have severe thunderstorm and flash flood warnings for areas to the southwest of St. Louis. We just added a new warning in here. Crawford, Washington, Phelps counties under severe thunderstorm warnings right now. This will be for gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour as these storms are percolating to the southeast. They're right along Highway 44 from Cuba up towards Sullivan. You get into Franklin County and into Gasconade County, these storms not only producing quite the light show, but also producing a tremendous amount of rain over areas that saw 5 inches or more of rain earlier today. We also have some thunderstorms popping up towards Farmington, up towards Bonne Terre right now. And then you look back into the metro area, nothing really all that dramatic. Notice how all this extends back to the west. We have to watch this through the evening hours. So you're looking at the severe weather threat, 60-mile-per-hour winds, maybe hail up to the size of golf balls. This is how it's going to move over the next few hours in general. A lot of it staying west and southwest of St. Louis, not by far, but maybe just far enough to keep the metro out of a severe flood threat. Having said that, we still expect significant 5 to 7, 8 inches of rain or more heading across areas to our south and southwest. Depending on which model you look at, some of the models are moving it a little closer to the metro area. If we got 5 to 7 inches in the immediate metro, it's a much worse situation because of all the concrete and all the runoff from the urban corridor. There's a lookout in Chesterfield right now looking to the west and southwest. There's been quite the light show well southwest of St. Louis. The severe threat mainly to our south and southwest of St. Louis. The flood threat is overnight, will continue until the last of these storms push out. And there could very well be a narrow 6 to 9 inches of rain, a very narrow band that's expected to be somewhere to the southwest of St. Louis, maybe flirting with the metro area. That's going to be our biggest concern happening during the overnight hours, Ann.
St. Louis County is preparing for the possibility of severe weather and flooding overnight. Hours ago, it activated its Emergency Operations Center in Baldwin. Our Robert Townsend continues our team coverage and joins us live from that area tonight.
Hey there, Ann. You know, right now we have light rain, lots of lightning, and definitely loud thunder out here in this area. Heavy rain is expected overnight, and that's why emergency officials are warning people to be extra careful and safe. In just a matter of hours, forecasters predict the St. Louis area could get hit with heavy rain. Rain that flooded streets, homes, and businesses during a historic summer storm last July.
We started preparing yesterday.
Weather watchers at the St. Louis County Emergency Operations Center in Baldwin have now launched what they call a level 2 partial activation. They say they're especially ready for any potential flash flooding.
It can come up very rapid. We saw that last year in July.
The workers here will track the storm around the clock on several flat screens, computers, and laptops. They've teamed up with the Department of Transportation, the American Red Cross, and the Department of Health in the event of major flooding problems.
We coordinate with local first responders to assess what it is that they need from us, and then we support them in that.
They say safety is their top priority.
They need to pay attention to any kind of weather notices that come out, follow the National Weather Service on social media.
Flood-weary homeowners, remember your belongings.
If you have any important belongings, especially in the basement, maybe start moving them on top of a table, on top of some racks, so that they don't get flooded. Also having a bag ready in case you have to evacuate.
If you must drive in the storm, in the dark, watch out for uprooted trees, downed power lines, and make sure your cell phone is charged.
Only call 911 if it's a life-threatening emergency. If you have to be out on the roadway, please look for floodwaters. Never drive into the floodwaters. Turn around.
Those long hours, again, those workers are getting ready for long hours. They're going to be putting in 12-hour shifts. We're live out here in the rainy storm in St. Louis County. I'm Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
A typically quiet creek turned into whitewater rapids this morning in Gasconade County. The floodwaters swallowed a stretch of Highway K and flooded basements and fields. Some farmers even searched for cattle that could have been swept away. Crews tell us some creeks are still rising, but as of now, Highway K is back open. Slick roads in Peevely sent one semi off the road. It happened this morning when the trucker drove off I-55, hit a concrete wall, and crashed onto Highway Z. The driver has serious injuries. Another semi overturned in South County when it ran off 255 near Lindbergh. That driver has minor injuries. Tonight, first responders and even utility crews are doing their part to make sure they're able to respond in the event of a weather emergency. That means getting staffing in place and preparing for the worst. 5 on your side's Brent Solomon is live at Ameren after checking in with crews.
Well, here at Ameren, Missouri, crews have a partnership with Ameren, Illinois. If one area gets hit harder than the other, crews know how to shift gears to get your lights back on. As crews working the storm prepare to do their part, they say there are things you can do as well.
St. Louis weather, it can, 1 minute it's dry, 1 minute it's storming like crazy. So,
when bad weather hits, we've all felt the impact.
you know, there could be lightning strikes of a house, or it could be a tree into a house.
It's why Battalion Chief Rob Carroll of Florissant Valley Fire has his crews ready to jump into action. Wednesday afternoon, fire crews across the area activated a special task force due to the expected weather.
And they requested boats. So if there's flooding in the area, the teams are already rostered, and they'll be ready to be deployed at short time.
His firefighters are working their usual 48-hour shifts, knowing that at any time that call can come.
We had 6 different storms in our service territory just in the month of July.
Over at Ameren, Illinois, crews are taking a close look at the forecast.
We're hoping we don't have as much wind as we've had this last storm that rolled in on Saturday, so we're monitoring that. We're on alert and we're ready whatever Mother Nature throws our way.
Meantime, both agencies say there are steps you can take to stay safe, like having an emergency kit at home.
Any kind of medication that you might need for a couple of days, you want to have some bottled water in there, you want to have a can opener.
And even though you've heard it before, officials want to stress, do not drive into standing water.
It only takes a couple inches for cars these days to float. So a couple inches of water can make you be pushed off-road into deeper water.
And speaking of emergency kits, a flashlight is a good idea as well. They also say go ahead and charge up your cell phones and your iPads, maybe even fuel up the car, because gas stations lose power too. Live in St. Louis tonight, Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
The Weather First forecast is available 24/7. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355 and we'll send you a link. The preliminary report for the deadly Greyhound bus crash says it could take 2 years before we know exactly what happened. The National Transportation Safety Board just released the report this morning. 3 people died on July 12th when the bus slammed into 3 semi-trucks that were parked on the side of I-70. 2 survivors are suing Greyhound. Tonight, local elected officials held a town hall meeting in New Melle to discuss recently released information about radioactive waste contamination in the metro area. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski brings us the details and what these officials want from the public.
So this here, that's just open waste that was blowing.
State Representative Tricia Burns says she recently found out about a lawsuit against the Department of Energy connected to an atomic bomb plant in Ohio from the 1990s.
They were going to pay out for property damage and stress. They said, we don't think we harmed anyone, but we would feel, I'm paraphrasing, we'd feel better about it. and then they were offering health monitoring to make sure that they stay safe.
That plant was the sister plant to the one in Weldon Spring.
But meanwhile at Weldon, 1,000 feet from a high school, while we had cleanup, they did a PR stunt on our people. And that included field trips, that included open houses, that included having scientists help us with our science fairs.
There was a line out the door here in New Melly for a town hall meeting where some people, for the first time, were learning about radioactive contamination in their community and now what's being done about it.
It is apparent to me that even as far back as 30 years ago, things were going on behind the backs of American and county citizens, and we were assured that the problem was being taken care of or fixed.
U.S. Senator Josh Hawley was able to get an amendment to a current law passed in the Senate that would provide compensation for people with medical conditions caused by exposure to radioactive waste.
While it passed the Senate, this is not the final version that will pass. It will be taken up by the House of Representatives in what they call a conference committee. We can make improvements, we can make changes to that legislation.
Reporting in New Melly, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
If you were not able to come to the meeting and you have been affected by radioactive waste in the metro area, reach out to Senator Josh Hawley's office and let them know what zip code you live in and the medical condition you have so they can make changes to legislation. We'll have information on KSDK.com.